Hi, my dear one. Have you ever been depressed and stuck and you felt like a robot and you were just kind of trudging along through life? You didn't have hope, you didn't have direction, you didn't have vision, and you were maybe lonely, or you were sad, or you were triggered. But there was this teeny tiny little sliver that God had more for your life. And there was this teeny tiny little sliver of hope inside of yourself that God actually had a plan for your life. I want to let you know that you are not alone. Welcome to my channel, Step Into a New Day. My name is Brandis, and I am a life coach in training through Professional Christian Coaching Institute, and I love helping women, especially mothers, step into love and connection and step out of fear and protection. I'm able to do this through my life coaching services, as well as a tool that I absolutely love, and that is called journaling. I believe in God's best for your life, for your home, for your mind, for your body, and for your spirit. Therefore, at least 2 times a month, I am going to be posting on this channel tips and tricks concerning your home, your mind, your body, and your spirit, pertaining to how you can feel alive again, what you can do to really nurture yourself. And my hope is that once you're able to nurture yourself and put some tips and tricks into place pertaining your home, mind, body, and spirit, that you are better able to connect to God, you're better able to connect to yourself, and more than anything, you are better able to connect to others and those people that love you the most, and those people that really want your love and your connection and your energy. I have my story that I would love to share with you today as I open up this new journey on this YouTube channel. But first, go ahead, if you like what I've said so far, please subscribe to this channel because there's a lot more coming. Go ahead and follow me at Step Into a New Day, which is my Facebook page. And I'm already on Instagram at Step Into a New Day Life Coaching. Okay, so I want to start off by saying that those of you that have followed me in the past know that this channel at first was called Love Above All with Brandis, and I absolutely love that journey. I started this YouTube channel when my kids were really small. It was an amazing creative outlet for me, and it was also a very big part of my healing and my own journey. So at any time, you're able to go ahead and look back at those videos because they are still there on my channel. I met some amazing people, collaborated with amazing people, and I hope to see them again. So if any of you are watching and we've collaborated in the past, please drop down and just say hello. I would love to just say hi and welcome you to this new journey of mine as well. However, today is a very important day, and I am really putting just a stake in the ground saying that I am committed to step into a new day and really fully embodying and moving forward towards what I want to offer women. I think that in the past I was kind of searching, trying to find my way, but I really feel like I have a lot of information, a lot of things that I really want to share and that I think are going to be beneficial for you, and I can't wait to do it. So please just join me on this journey. It is my hope to usher you into your own new day, just as I have entered my new day, and I continue to work hard to just really follow the call that God has placed on my life, and I really want to bring you along with me. Everybody is at different stages, everybody has experienced different type of pain, but you are all welcome here, no matter what type of woman you are, no matter what type of mother you are. Even if there's a few men out there that could be watching this, you're welcome here too. So today I just want to go ahead and start with my story, just so you can understand. It'll be a brief story, but just so you can kind of understand where I came from and how I am here at this point. So let's begin. So I was a high school Spanish teacher for about 8 years. I absolutely loved it. I worked so hard to get there. It was my entire identity, and I poured everything into it. Throughout that time, I would experience different, just I think, underlying depression at times, different things with my menstrual cycle, with PMS. I'm sure all you ladies can relate to that. And I was curious about what was going on. My husband and I wanted to go ahead and have children, so I did end up getting off of birth control. I feel like the birth control was suppressing a lot of maybe feelings or things that I was experiencing during that time. And as I went off of that, I did feel like I started to really question life. I was confused, I was stressed, I knew God had more for my life. I went ahead and I was able to connect with a naturopathic doctor who I consider my life coach and who has been my life coach for a very, very long time. And I would also put the caveat in there that he is a spiritual life coach as well. I started with him, and then basically on October 20th, 2010, I definitely had a meeting with Jesus. And as you can see in my journal, I had a moment, a stirring of my spirit. I had been going through a lot of things, and I just really understood it in that moment that Jesus died for my sins. I didn't have to keep fixing myself, and I declared that. And it was at that moment that he really entered my life and my relationship, and I knew that he was on board for the rest of my healing journey. I also uncovered at that time that I had been holding sexual trauma that I had experienced when I was around 4 years old. I had been holding that for a very, very long time without ever dealing with it. And so I was able to get into therapy at that time. I was able to uncover and work through a lot of those things. And for the first time in my life, I was able to start to work on how I spoke to myself, how I cared for myself, and really understand how horrible I had been treating myself and what I was doing and saying to myself in my mind, and the type of person that I thought I had to be, which was not true, because God loved me unconditionally and I could really start to walk into who He had created me to be. And so that was the first start of that. At that point, when I just had this closer relationship with God, I did realize that I needed to transition out of teaching. I didn't know why. I just knew that this wasn't going to be my life path for the rest of my life. I was starting to feel like a robot at that time, being a teacher, and just feeling like everyone had to, I guess, do the same thing. I did feel a little bit creatively stifled, and I knew that I had to go. So I did make a bold move. I declared, that I was going to be moving on from that. And little did I know that I was going to end up being pregnant with my first daughter. And within that time, kind of that interim of like my last year of teaching, as I left, I wrote a book called Teaching on Purpose, and that's something that I have not published yet, but it really was a place in time where I was able to learn a lot of ways to really love and connect with others, to really work with my headspace, to work with my heart, to work with my trauma, and to be a better person for it. So I hope to get that book out one day as well, because I think it'll be very beneficial to anyone, but also for teachers in the classroom. So in 2011, I had my daughter Estella, and I had an amazing pregnancy. It was wonderful. I felt euphoric. I felt on cloud nine. We used to live in Chicago, me and my husband. I would walk to the lake with her. I would pray over her, and it was just an amazing experience. We transitioned, and before we bought the house that we're living in now, we were living in another person's house as we were waiting for this house because it was a short sale. And I had my baby shower. And that same night, I remember I put everything away, all of everything that Estella got, and I went out to lunch with my mom, and I ate, and I went grocery shopping, and I did so many things. And then at that night, probably around 10 o'clock at night, my water broke, and I called the doctor, and the doctor basically told me just to rush to the hospital. So me and my husband rushed to the hospital. I was in agonizing pain. I was not able to have any type of epidural, and my daughter, Estella, was born within 2 hours. She was born at like 12:11 at night. And we went to the hospital. She was born, and it was just, I was in absolute shock. And as you can see in the picture, like my eye almost looks like, kind of closed, and I just was in utter shock. And unfortunately, to tell you, my dear one, I think that shock lasted throughout that very early part of my motherhood, it had remained. The NICU experience is very stressful. My daughter was on a heart monitor. You were scared of, them getting sick. You had to be very careful. She was so small. I didn't know how to handle her. Guilt set in with me at that point. Shame started to set in with me at that point with my daughter. But I still just had a very euphoric time. I loved her. We had an amazing experience as I raised her. Fast forward, my son, we got pregnant, and my son was born in 2014. However, at around 30 weeks, I started dilating, and the doctor said that I needed to be on bed rest. I was on bed rest for about 4 weeks. I was so nervous. I was agonizing. I was so scared and so worried that I was going to have a premature baby again, and I just didn't know what I was going to do. I mean, for me personally, that was just, I just didn't want that. I didn't want that experience again. For me, it was just very, very hard. I went to the doctor. I was in the hospital. They tried to stop my contractions because I started getting really strong again a little bit before 34 weeks. They tried to do everything that they could to stop it. My husband was trying to take care of my daughter. I was alone. I was in the hospital. I had some amazing nurses. I had some other nurses that were a little bit more challenging, that maybe didn't believe that I was still feeling these contractions and things of that nature. So it was a hard time. Finally, when I was in the hospital for a couple days, and then boom, 34 weeks hit again, and they said it was time to deliver my son. So at 34 weeks, I delivered my son. And if I didn't say this prior, my daughter was like 4 pounds, 11 ounces. My son was 4 pounds, 12 ounces, but it was a heavy hitter. I had him as a preemie again, and I was so excited to be with my son, but once again, I was just devastated. Why is this happening? Why did this have to happen again, a second time? Why couldn't I stop those contractions? Why couldn't I keep both my babies safe inside of my womb and taken care of until they were supposed to be born? After my son was born, I just remember, being in shock once again. I remember having some bleeding problems and going to the doctor and working with my naturopathic doctor to kind of get that to stop as well. But I didn't have normal bleeding after I had Bryson, my son Bryson. It kind of elongated. After you deliver, you bleed a little bit and then it stops. Well, for me, it wasn't. And I remember I was part of a Moms by Faith group just with women that I loved so absolutely dearly. And I remember just reading the Bible stories of the woman with the blood issue. And I'm like, that's me. I have the blood issue. And her bleeding wouldn't stop. But when and I hope I'm getting this story right, but when she touched the hem of Jesus's garment, she was completely healed. And I remember just holding that with me. That was a piece of hope that I was able to put in my pocket for that time in my life. Things kept going. I was raising my children. I started to realize that I was not feeling right. I started feeling stuck. I started feeling scared. I was diagnosed at that point with PTSD, so post-traumatic stress disorder. And I really felt like that PTSD was an accumulation of my preemies and then also what happened to me when I was 4 years old. So all of those things were coming together, and through my love of journaling, through the fact that I'm not ashamed to, go to therapy, to go to my life coach, to go to my naturopathic doctor, I was able to really work through that. I did EMDR therapy, and I was able to really reclaim my life and start anew. But it was definitely a combination of God leading me to the correct people, journaling, relying on other people to help me through, and also these other strategies and modalities that are out there in order to help those that are suffering. It was my 10-year anniversary, and I'm kind of going back a little bit, where God started working with me. And I believe this was before I really went into my EMDR, but we went to Hawaii, and I remember reading a book called The Alchemist, and I loved it. And I remember just being on the beach, and I got a rush of ideas about different topics that just spoke to me, just like these topics of life to get you through as if you're climbing a mountain. And I remember I wrote all of these things down on a piece of paper, and little by little I felt really convicted to go ahead and put that into some type of a program. I ended up teaching a workshop with the Moms by Faith group that I was involved with, and over time I was able to really switch and conform that into what I felt God really wanted me to do with it. And so I was able to develop something called The Climb, and it is a Christian guided journal. It's a heart-centered Christian guided journal where you can find contentment and peace and direction for your life. And I was very, very proud of this accomplishment. I feel like this was also part of my healing journey, where I was able to write daily, work on this daily. It took me, I think, about 4 years as I was going through my own healing, dealing with my children and just all the guilt and all the shame that I felt having my children at 34 weeks. So at 40 years old, a little bit before that, I was able to self-publish The Climb, and that was a really big accomplishment for me. I have a lot more to do. I have 3 more volumes with that. But that was also another stake in the ground, saying and talking with God, saying this is the direction that I am going. As weird as it is, when 2020 hit, and this is something I feel very passionately about, listening to your body. I listen to my body through journaling. I listen to my body just on the daily. I love doing yoga, but there was something that wasn't right. I wasn't feeling right. I hadn't been feeling right for a couple years. I was having those on and off bleeding problems, things of that nature. I remember going to my doctor, and I was able to just tell her I wasn't feeling right. She sent me in for an ultrasound, and they ended up finding a fibroid in my uterus. And for those of you that don't know, that is a benign tumor, but it was about the size of an apple, so it was pretty big. It was pressing on my ovaries, pressing on my bladder, pressing on a lot of different areas in my body. And in that moment, I knew I had to do something with it. I'm not going to go into too much detail with this, but there's a lot of different options for women. I knew that I didn't want a hysterectomy with that, and so I did a lot of my research, and I was able to do a procedure to basically shrink it and make it smaller. And for me, as I kind of close and tie up my story with you, this fibroid, in my mind, was a representation of the shame and the guilt and the kind of stifling of creativity and the punishment almost that I was not allowing myself to just freely live and really come into who I am supposed to be. And I really felt like having this treated was the mark of a new start. And so here I am today, and I am ready to embark on this new start of step into a new day. And I am ready to invite all different types of women with me, all different types of mothers with me on this journey to step into your own new day. I invite you to step into your own new day, and I invite you to come to my channel to get inspired, learn from the tips and tricks to add to your own life, and to know that I have been there. And I want you to know that there is hope, and that if you are stuck, you don't have to stay there. And I'm going to cry again. You don't have to stay there in that stuckness. You have to fight for yourself with everyone around you. Other people around you might think you're just crazy. They might think that you whatever. Oh, it's just women issues, or just this, or just that, or whatever it is, but you have to fight for yourself. And the best way to fight for yourself is to be with God, to be on His side, to be on His team, and He's going to guide you and lead you to the right people. And I hope that I am someone on your journey that you can spend some time with, to just be an encourager, to fight for what you need and to step into your new day, whatever it is, because God has a plan for you. God has amazing things ahead for you. You just have to keep going, and you just have to find that aliveness in those moments of your day. So to close, thank you so much if you have stayed this long to listen to my story. I love Jesus. I love green smoothies. I love yoga. And I'm just here to remind you to step into love and connection, step out of fear and protection. And if there's anything you need concerning life coaching services, I have information in the drop bar below. My guided journal, The Climb, is also in the drop bar below as well. And I am excited to journey with you as this channel evolves and develops. And I step into my new day, and you step into your new day while you are with me. So thank you so much for listening. God bless you. I am giving you a very big hug from my heart to yours. I'll see you in my next video.